right, all right. Good morning, everybody. Happy Saturday. Hello, Rondi. Hope you're doing okay. Hope everything's going all right with the rest of you. I wanted to get on here to discuss this case because I saw a little bit about this yesterday and the day before. And I thought to myself, man, this is really pretty sad and intense, to say the least. So I thought I'd go live, just trying to iron out the bugs before my huge live tonight. Um, Nothing more, nothing less. Just waiting on some groceries to get delivered. My name is 12 Gauge, and I am your host. And this is 12 Gauge Investigative. So hopefully some other people come in here and we'll discuss this case. Rondi, how are you doing this morning? Let's go ahead and that's awesome to hear. Awesome to hear. Let me go ahead and take myself. I'm gonna fix the layout, but I don't know. Guess I'll do full screen. Whatever. I'm doing great. Thank you. Here we go.
Marnie Hughes, and this is Missing. Each week, we cover missing person cases from across the country, no matter their race, background, or circumstances. With your help, our mission is finding answers, reuniting families, and bringing closure. This week's featured case, an urgent search for a pregnant mother. Emma Baum is 25 years old, last seen about a month ago at her boyfriend's house in Gary, Indiana. Her family and friends now going public with the case, desperate to bring Emma home.
She was 1 centimeter dilated on October 4th. She has been missing since October 10th. At this point, we have done everything we can, and now we ask the public to please help us.
Police conducting multiple searches, but there has been no sign of Emma. Coming up, the reason her family believes the boyfriend is somehow involved and where he is now. Also, we're talking to the founder of an independent search team who is working this case. First, though, several other missing cases we are following, starting with the mysterious disappearance of Hannah Kobayashi. The 31-year-old was last heard from on November 11th. According to our News Nation station in LA, Kobayashi was traveling from Maui to New York City, but missed her connecting flight in Los Angeles. She decided to go to the Grove Shopping Center for a LeBron James event, and then days later started texting her family alarming messages.
It sounded very cryptic, or like it just was not her.
Yeah, we share locations, and we know her phone's off because it goes straight to voicemail. We've been trying to call, text. None of the texts are getting delivered. We can't locate her phone. Calls go straight to voicemail.
Hannah's aunt says there is new footage showing Hannah in downtown LA, and the footage has not been made public, but she says in it, Hannah is not safe and she is not alone. If you have any information that can help find Hannah Kobayashi, contact the LAPD. Suzanne Simpson's sister says there is no hope in finding the missing mother of 4 from Texas. Suzanne's husband, Brad Simpson, has been arrested and is suspected in her murder. He's being held now on $5 million bond. Suzanne's sister, Teresa Clark, spoke with my News Nation colleague, Ashley Banfield.
The children hadn't spoken to her in 16 hours. That's when I just knew, okay, she's already in heaven. That's just all there is to it.
The search for Suzanne does continue, including at a landfill and in a wooded area around the couple's home. A neighbor saw Suzanne and her husband fighting outside their house, describing a physical altercation before Brad Simpson drove off.
Man, these cases are tragic. I mean, it's like that one lady just flew into LAX and she went missing after that. Just vanished. Suzanne, obviously, we've covered that case on this channel, and we've done multiple episodes on that. Her husband was eventually arrested for murder. It's just a weird world we're living in where people are just killing people, and it's not like it doesn't look like it's about to end anytime soon. You know, the case we're about to go over, this one I haven't really listened to it at all. She's 25 years old and she was dilated already, so it's not a good sign.
That was the last time anyone heard from her. The search also continues for Zelig Williams, an actor and Broadway star who vanished in his home state of South Carolina on October 3rd. Zelig worked on the popular shows Hamilton and MJ the Musical. Friends telling News Nation they got an automatic emergency notification from Zelig's phone. His car was then found in a parking lot near a hiking trail by the Congaree National Park. It's about 15 miles from downtown Columbia, South Carolina. According to ABC4 News in the area, YouTuber Adam Brown, a local adventurer and the founder of Adam Brown Adventures, is now helping in the search for Zelig. He lives about 30 minutes away and says that he felt compelled to get involved. He's now gathering a group of experienced volunteers to look for Zelig, and in this video shows us the difficult terrain near where they believe Zelig was before he vanished.
Really, I'm just kind of looking for anything that's shaped somewhat, more like a phone. There's a snake right there. You'll see the snake. Water definitely is more calm today. Looks like, but dang. Look at all this after the flooding. That's just a mess.
Well, I wonder if he got caught in the wave.
This is also a case that many in the entertainment world and also in Hollywood have been following closely. If you have any information that can help in the search for Zelig Williams, contact.
Oh, I've used Adam Brown Adventures on YouTube. I'm gonna go check that out after this video. I've used Adam Brown's adventure stuff on here for them looking for what was that little girl that went missing from her house? Wells was her last name. Hannah Wells, I guess, or something like that. And they also went down to Texas to do the Ladybird stuff. So I'm going to check this out. That way we'll get more insight on this.
The Richland County Sheriff's Department. Right now to this week's featured case, more than a month since Emma Baum was last seen, a young mother about to deliver another child, when she disappeared, last seen at her boyfriend's house in Gary, Indiana. Our News Nation station in Chicago spoke with Emma's family. Here's WGN's Jewel Hillary with the latest on the case.
Emma Baum's loved ones say she was last seen early in October at her boyfriend's house, which is the brown one right behind us. For weeks now, they have been searching for her desperately and are asking anyone who knows anything to come forward.
I would like my daughter home. We miss her. Her babies need her family needs her.
Holding posters with her pictures. More than anything right now, the family of 25-year-old Emma Baum wants to embrace Emma and the baby she was expecting.
She was 1 centimeter dilated on October 4th. She has been missing since October 10th. At this point, we have done everything we can, and now we ask the public to please help us.
Emma is 5 feet 3 inches tall and about 136 pounds. She's known to wear different hair pieces and wigs. This picture of her as a brunette is how she looks naturally. Emma is a mom of 4 young children, which includes the baby she likely would have delivered by now. She was 9 months pregnant when she disappeared.
If you do see a missing Emma, she may be with her newborn baby. This case is very critical because we don't know if that baby has gotten the care that it needs.
Emma's loved ones say she was last seen at her boyfriend's house October 10th in the 2500 block of Connecticut Street in Gary. Gary investigators say they didn't receive a missing persons report until October 28th. According to investigators, Emma's boyfriend was arrested on October 29th on an unrelated warrant and is currently being held in the Lake County Jail in Indiana.
One individual was picked up on a warrant. I know that's the question out there. Was he charged? He has not been charged. No one in this case has been charged. And that individual was just on a separate FTA warrant.
Investigators say since Emma was reported missing, they have helped in her search.
There's been 3 different locations that have come up in the investigation, so that we've exhausted those means and looked into video that was possibly in those areas that she was last seen as well.
Loved ones describe Emma as having a heart of gold, someone who would do anything for anyone. And now they're pleading with anyone who knows something to help them reunite with Emma and her baby.
We love you, Emma. And if you can hear us, there's nothing that you have done to make any of us stop loving you. We trust that somebody knows something,
And we want her.
and we want her
We
home.
want her home.
Anyone who has any information on Emma's disappearance is urged to contact the Gary, Indiana Police Department. Reporting in Gary, I'm Jewel Hillary, WGN News.
Joining us now is Lorenzo Longoria, founder of the NWI Independent Search Team, and also Katrina Overstreet, founder of the Missing Struggle. To you both, thank you so much for joining us. This is an urgent search of one beak.
I mean, this is just tragic how I was talking to somebody yesterday. I don't even know. I talked to so many people all day long. But I was talking to somebody and still have a little bit of that brain fog going on. But you know, it's so troubling how you could be here one moment and then bam, be gone, vanished. Nobody knows anything, nobody saw anything, nobody questioned, you know, how you could just vanish like that. You know, in this position right here, the boyfriend was arrested on a failure to appear warrant the next day after she went missing. So, I mean, kind of like the Suzanne Simpson case, you know, they had that argument, and then they went home and he put his hands on her, and then that night there was a scream in the woods heard, and that was it. That was the last time anybody heard anything about Suzanne. I mean, it's like the women are just being preyed upon, and it's sad to think that, you know, there's some unhinged people in the world who are quick to just handle their temper or handle their lack of will toward the other partner and end up killing them, you know? Let's continue on.
Because Emma was so pregnant the last time she was seen, and the family now going public wanted a lot of help. So thank you both for the work you're doing. Lorenzo, let me start with you. Tell me about your group and at what point you got involved.
We are a team, NWI Independent Search Team, and we founded our group back in 2015 when our oldest son, Michael, he went missing for 41 days. During that 41-day search, we went inside of abandoned buildings, inside of schools, inside of any type of structure. And during that time frame, we had thousands of volunteers helping us. So what we do now is our way of giving back to the community. So that's why what we do. So we know the pain, we know the struggle that the parents are going through.
Okay, right there it says Emma vanished just day before her delivery date. So she was dilated 1 centimeter, I think her sister said. Indiana mother of 4 has been missing since October 10th. So she would have delivered that baby by now, right? I've never had a child. I've never delivered a child. Any of you that have had children, she would have delivered the baby by now, correct? So this individual has been looking for her.
Through, and we're there to help bring closure and to bring answers as best as possible with our team. And we have currently 4 dogs that are on search and article scent.
Wow. So you know firsthand the pain and grief this family is going through. Real quickly, on a personal note, what happened in your story with Michael?
Again, he was missing for 41 days, and Longer story short, he was found inside a retention pond in Crown Point. So he went off road and he was submerged underwater for 41 days.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
During that time frame, we passed him at least a dozen times, and the neighbor across the road, finally, he went to the local authorities and he told them what he's seen, lights inside the water back in 2015.
I'm so sorry, Lorenzo, and thank you for sharing. And now I understand your passion for helping others. Katrina, tell me about your group and your involvement in Emma's search. Can you hear me? I think you may have been. That's okay. That's okay. Go ahead and start over, Katrina. How did you guys get involved, and tell me about your organization?
We're the Miss and Struggle. We are a collective of families that also have family members that are currently missing. So it's five of us, and we all have family members that are still missing. And we got involved because we know NWI. We work together closely on cases. While they're boots on the ground, we're in the background doing what we need to do.
So this case, you can hear the family's grief. Lorenzo, I want to pay a particular attention to the house where the WGN reporter was a moment ago, the boyfriend's house in Gary, Indiana. You would start the search there because that was the last place we know Emma was. Tell me about this property and what you all have learned.
We have one side the property. We went on foot looking for any type of evidence of her belongings. We did find some articles that belonged to her, but obviously she wasn't there any longer. So we just had to take the trail on her last known location. So that was her last known location, but she did travel, we don't know, by foot or by vehicle around the town. So we have went there. We have talked to the property manager. He is very, very helpful by letting us go inside and search. He doesn't have to, but he has, because he's looking for answers as well and clarity of that property.
Katrina, the boyfriend's in custody on separate charges. What more do we know about the boyfriend, his background, and the family seems to think he has some involvement?
I'm going to defer that question to Lorenzo.
I'm sorry, Katrina.
Yes, I said I'm going to defer that question to Lorenzo.
Oh, okay. Lorenzo, do you have any information on the boyfriend?
Well, everyone is innocent until proven guilty, but anybody with the last person that they were with is definitely a suspect, especially dealing with this case or any case at all. The last person that was with the missing person is a high probable suspect. But
so let me pause it a minute, because she was known to wear extensions. Let me back it up here so you can see what she might look like without the extensions. Well, if I could find it. This is just a sad case.
Yes, I said I'm going to defer that question to Lorenzo.
Oh, okay. Lorenzo, do you have any information on the boyfriend?
Well, everyone is innocent until proven guilty, but anybody with the last person that they were with is definitely a suspect, especially dealing with this case or any.
Okay, so the sister discussed that this would be how Emma normally looks without the extensions in her hair. And so if anybody notices a person looking like this with a newborn baby, obviously, in the Indiana area, please call law enforcement or call someone that could either possibly verify whether this is Emma Baum or not. I mean, because you noticed the difference. Hey, Swamp, how are you doing? Thank you for being here.
Happy Saturday. Thank you for having me up on panel. This is such a heartbreaking story. It's just more tragic the more you hear about it. I don't know a lot about it except when it initially became a story about a week ago. But yeah, just listening to you, it's heartbreaking.
Yeah, I saw a thumbnail probably not yesterday, but the day before, and I thought, what is this about? You know, and I just haven't had time to really invest in looking at it. So I thought I presented this morning. That way we all could kind of get a feel for this case. I mean, the fact that she looks so different without her extensions and her hair. I mean,
I know.
I don't know about you, but doesn't she look radically different?
Oh, it's radically different, but also in that photo you're looking at, she doesn't have any makeup on, like not a
Yeah.
stitch of makeup. And I mean, just the shadows and everything, you look like a completely different person. Your eyes look like they're a different size and a shape. It's just, yeah. So that and combined with the extensions and the hair dye, but she could look
Yeah.
like
So
anything.
you know, a lot of times in these cases, Swamp, and I know that you've heard it as well. The person closest to them is usually a suspect. So the boyfriend was taken into custody on a warrant for a failure to appear the following day after she went missing. And also, I wanted to think about, you know, as far as how the police investigate these cases. You know, she's 25 years old, so obviously she's not a child. And most of the time, you hear the police making statements such as, well, if you want to disappear, you can disappear. It's not against the law. What do you think about that?
I'm blown away. Number one, she was like 2 centimeters dilated when she went missing, according to her sister, or something along those lines. She was so close to giving birth. All I can think of is this is a woman who, for all intents and purposes, can't really survive on her own at that stage. I mean, she could, but very few people do. Most people have, at that moment, they're surrounded by, excuse me, my throat. But I just got done with 2 live streams, so I do apologize.
And that's fine.
So for me, I felt like, how come it took this long for this to be a mainstream media story? I mean, I just literally started hearing about it like a week ago. She, for all intents and purposes, she couldn't have survived on her own. That baby shouldn't, I mean, it's depriving it of medical care. You would think it warrant missing persons immediately. But I don't know, did it? Maybe you could fill in some of the blanks for me, but it just seemed like nobody was making a big deal out of it until a certain length of time. But I don't know.
I mean, it's so tragic that, you know, I do understand the concept. We do have the right to go missing if we wish to do so. I mean, maybe, you know, without getting into intense speculating, maybe she was running away from a very volatile situation. Maybe getting out of there and missing was part of a plan. You know what I mean? Some people don't want to be found.
I agree with you, 12, and that makes sense, and I can understand why the police would make an argument for that. But in this one instance, I just can't imagine. If she was going to disappear, she would probably do it before she was about to give birth. I mean, she might have done it in month 7, month 6, when her parental instincts would have been kicking in by then as well. You know what I mean? Like, it's not. Yeah. She had other children too, right? Didn't she have other children at home?
4 other children, yes. Well, let's continue listening to a little more, and then we'll discuss some more of it.
Any case at all, the last person that was with the missing person is a high probable suspect, but again, everyone is innocent until proven guilty.
Yep, indeed. But they always start with the family and friends, the last to see a missing person in an investigation like this. Katrina, as you've looked at this case as a whole, what stands out to you, and where else do you believe police should be looking?
The first thing that stands out is very obvious. She's pregnant and was 1 centimeter dilated, and then went missing a couple weeks, a week or so later. Our biggest thing is, where's the child? Like, who did this? Did they do it for the child? Did they do it because of something that was going on with Emma? Like, there's a lot of questions out here that needs to be asked and answered. So that's where I'm standing with this.
And Lorenzo, what was going on in Emma's life prior to her disappearance? Had there been any red flags that the family has shared? Any concerns for her safety?
12, I missed that part of the timeline. I was
life prior to this happening. My understanding.
Do what?
I'm so sorry. I missed that part of the timeline. Is it any way you could back it up, like 30 seconds. I was letting Discord know that I was live with you, so we
Sure,
get some.
sure.
I'm sorry
Let
about
me
that.
go. Let me go back to. We'll go about right here.
Suspect, especially dealing with this case or any case at all, the last person that was with the missing person is a high probable suspect. But again, everyone is innocent until proven guilty.
Yep, indeed. But they always start with the family and friends, the last to see a missing person in an investigation like this. Katrina, as you have looked at this case as a whole, what stands out to you, and where else do you believe police should be looking?
The first thing that stands out is very obvious. She's pregnant and was 1 centimeter dilated, and then went missing a couple weeks, a week or so later. Our biggest thing is.
So I know this is going to sound silly, Swamp, and I'm not trying to be gross here or anything like that. But is 1 centimeter, is that pretty obvious dilation? I mean, do you know? Anybody in the chat? Because I mean that sounds like pretty like the start of her child birthing, you know. I don't have a clue. I don't
She's about
know.
to give. She's gonna give birth, and I mean, Chrissy would be the best one to answer this. So, Tanel Ray says 10 centimeters is nearly giving birth, but I wonder how long she would have. I would think that she was going to give birth within the next 72 hours to a week, just by a get. I don't know, but like I said,
Yeah.
So yeah, 1 centimeter is labor.
Yeah.
It's just the beginning. But the point is just for the people who just joined us in chat, what 12 and I were just talking about is the police were always say you have a right to disappear. And she might have been in a situation where she needed to disappear. But in this one instance, it's odd that they would even push that narrative, because a woman at that stage, I mean, she could survive on her own, but most women at that stage can't survive on their own. The woman needs the people around her. There's no way that she would choose her escape plan, like at that moment. Like, there's no way instincts would have been.
Also, that people really don't really see unless you've ever witnessed these situations is sometimes in these. If this was a domestic issue, what if she had some friends that, she was really close to that were trying to get her away from that? They picked her up, took her to a safe house, whatever, to be safe from that domestic issue. We don't really know what was going on. We just know that she went missing. And that's the unfortunate when these missing cases come up. We really don't know the situation behind them going missing. You know what I mean?
Oh, 100%. And I mean, yes, like a situation would come up where it's like emergency situation, didn't happen before, a domestic situation. But the part that really throws a twist in all of that is that she had 3 kids at home, according to Rondi. And so, I mean, if there is an escape plan, it would involve likely, in most scenarios, the rest of the children. And then Christy said this, which is interesting, just to further our knowledge about it. She says, it's labor, but I was 2 centimeters for 2 weeks when I went into labor, LOL.
Oh, wow.
I mean,
that's quite a bit. That's quite a bit.
Even if she wasn't in labor, though, I would say that very few, a woman, like, I don't want to harp on the thing, but like a woman, how's she going to survive without anybody else? But like you said, she could be with friends. It's just extraordinary to think that would be her escape time. And what we were saying before we had a few more people join us in the chat is, like, she would have probably escaped before now. I'll stop talking. I'm sorry, 12. Chatty this morning.
You're fine. You're fine. That's part of this. You're fine. You're giving some good insight here, because we really don't know. None of us really have a clear vision of what happened. Even on this newscast, it's really not giving a lot of clarity. The police are not giving a lot. The family's not really giving a lot. All we really know is the boyfriend got arrested the next day for failure to attend, and I mean, it just seems that house looked kind of, and I'm not trying to judge people's living by no means, but it didn't look like the best environment for children to be growing up in. You know, were you able to see any of the house?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
Mm-mm.
Well, maybe they'll show some more. Let me go ahead and keep playing this a little bit.
Okay. Where is the child? Like, who did this? Did they do it for the child? Did they do it because of something that was going on with Emma? Like, there's a lot of questions out here that needs to be asked and answered. So that's where I'm standing with this.
And Lorenzo, what was going on in Emma's life prior to her disappearance? Had there been any red flags that the family has shared? Any concerns for her safety?
Her life prior to this happening, my understanding, the fact that she was in jail for some time, then she got back out, and I don't know her personally, so the family just called out back in November 3rd, and since then, 19 days straight, we've been out searching, gathering information, gathering clues of who Emma really is. But by her family, she is loved by many, and they're just looking for answers for her. So that's what we're here to do, is help bring closure and to find Emma and her baby. Her baby has to be born already, because again, like the missing struggle said, that she was already dilated 1 centimeter. So we're looking, it's not Emma, but we're looking for her child as well, which is very alarming. You know, with the elements outside, like right now in this area, it's snowing outside. So where's Emma? Where's Emma's baby?
Katrina, you work with many families. What type of support do you offer them in this this space of unknown as they look for their person and they look for answers?
There's a lot of things that we do. We actually help a lot of the families mentally, just to be there for them. You know, hey, you can call me at whatever time of the day or night. Let's talk about it. And us as the missing struggle and Lorenzo's team as well, when they have missing loved ones, we know how they feel. So we can be more sympathetic and empathetic with what they're saying. We also print flyers, give out flyers. We push their flyers on social media. We make sure that the family is eating, you know, instead of being out there all day and all night with nothing to eat or drink. There's a lot of things that we do in the background.
Yeah, no, it's
You know what I've heard in that area, Swamp, and this is just speculation and hearsay. I've heard that Tennessee, Indiana, all those states right there around there, it is a huge trafficking for small children, small kids. For whatever reason, that is a hub for that area to be is really prevalent for trafficking. And as sad as it is, and people don't talk about this at all, but there is a need for, I mean, there's a black God, my mind went blank. I still have that fog. Black black underworld where, you know, organ harvesting and all that is a thing, you know.
Oh God, yeah. I didn't even know about the extent of organ harvesting until I started hearing about some of these people who have been, and I'm not saying like the legit border, but like the black market border of our country between Mexico and, right. And you know, when you say Indiana in that corridor, I wasn't aware that that was a human trafficking corridor. However, what that made me think of is a best-selling book that's out right now, true crime book about serial killers in the trucking industry, the long-haul trucking industry, because it takes like a special type of person with a special type of schedule, and you have to have a lifestyle to do it. And I just wonder, when I hear that, is that because you think of like those Midwestern places like Indiana? I've been out there, it's like all flat. Like, you know, you fly off the road, you're just going to hit a cornfield, nothing's going to happen. You'll be fine. You know what I mean? Like that's like what I think of trucking country. I think of that. I wonder if that has something to do with it. And then I lost my point when I was talking earlier. I just kind of covered it up. But I was trying to say to the chat, one of my other concerns about this is why didn't it make mainstream media? Like, I don't understand why I only heard about this in Discord like a week ago or whatever, 2 weeks ago. It's just odd. You know, you'd think I'd see this on the morning news, local and national, but I didn't. And then the other thing that was really interesting is she's been to jail. And I mean, we can criticize what happened with the search and the media and blah, 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 blah. But the fact is she's gone. We've got to figure out what happened. If she's been to jail, this is different. You know, what is going on? I hope she's alive. I hope she's hiding. You know, that's best case scenario. But was she part of a gang? Was she part of drug trafficking? Did she have a vendetta with somebody from before or during the criminal phase of her life? I don't know, but that's a very interesting twist. And then there was a comment by Rondi right up here where he said she would escape whenever she could. And I think that's a good point. You know, if you're in a domestic situation, you're going to do whatever you can to get out. But the twist is, would you leave your 3 kids at home under what 12 says are deplorable living conditions or bad living conditions?
Yeah. I mean, also, you know, due to my past working with criminal offenders and, you know, the professionalism that I have as far as that aspect, you know, most people in that lifestyle, and I'm not putting her in that lifestyle, but that's the lifestyle they live. They don't, if they want to disappear, they're going to disappear. Nobody's going to really have any kind of inkling where they're at. They'll even up and leave their children where they know that their children are safe without any regard toward leaving those children. You know, they're just thinking about the here and now. Well, I got to get away. I got to go, you know, get off the grid. I got, you know, like you said, maybe it was for safety reasons. Maybe, you know, someone did target her baby before it was even born. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. But, you know, that's so chilling when you talk about human trafficking, and you got a 100% from Aquarius when you said that, because, oh my God, my whole body just got chills when you said that. Babies in the United States, and I've had this problem for a while, like I've seen babies in the United States are like a product and a commodity for sale. And it's a big deal that nobody wants to talk about, because the wealthy people are the ones who are buying the babies. And nobody wants to try and take a closer look, because it's always the upper class. It's always the, you know, the people with the perfect lives that buy the babies. But this is a real thing, and they are worth big money. Like, I mean, especially if it's perceived as, we know that's not what she looks like, but if she's perceiving herself blonde hair, blue eyes, like desirable features, you kidding me? Like, sick people out there. But if you're telling me it's, you know, and what I'm referencing is the vast, like, surrogate mother. I'm so sorry. I hope I'm not offending anyone.
It's fine. This is very open. It's fine.
And I respect everyone's opinion on the subject, but I've watched some of the surrogate babies give their testimony in front of Congress, and you can't help but be brought to tears. It's just scary, and it's for money, and they take advantage. It's in some cases, in a lot of cases, they take advantage of women in hard situations. I don't know, and it causes, like, and I'm not trying to change the subject, but it causes like generational trauma.
Right, exactly.
But a baby is worth a lot of money is the point. A good baby, and sorry, trigger warning, could be $50,000 to $200,000. So you know, and then she had, yeah. And then there's the domestic violence situation. There's just so many angles to this. I don't know where the cops are going to go.
I mean, we don't know what she just got released out of jail for. We don't know, you know, did she go back to that home? Did something happen? Was there a domestic issue where she got placed in jail? and the boyfriend stayed at the house, and then they came back and arrested him. She left the day before. I mean, we really don't know. We can assume a lot of things. Being 25 in 2024 is totally different than being 25 in 2023, 2022. You get what I'm saying?
Mhm.
It's like there's so many variables that go along with these things. There's a lot of black market things that aren't mentioned in the true crime community. They aren't mentioned about, what actually could be going on with some of these missing people, some of the missing children, some of the missing, people that are found dead. Like you said about the truckers, I did a live one time about a very famous trucker that was murdering up and down the United States, and he had done it for years, 30 or 40 victims, I think. And they finally apprehended him, and he had a very methodical pattern of doing it. It's not always picking somebody up at the truck stop. It's somebody walking on the side of the road. Hey, are you okay? You need a ride? Boom, you're in that truck. It's almost like a torture chamber. You're gone on the road. So what's your thought on that?
All right. Well, first thing I'm thinking is, with the shroud of mystery surrounding why he went to jail, all these other things, if the true crime community wants to put their eyes on this case, can we throw out some FOIA requests here? Can we get some 911 calls? Can we get some police reports? Why we don't have these public records? We need to request them. There's no reason why this is a national security risk or it needs to be gag sealed and redacted. Let's do some FOIA requests on this case.
I agree with you. But let's continue on with the video. Let's see if there's any more that they can tell us.
It's just sometimes it's something as simple as a hug. I know. Lorenzo, how closely does your group and others work with law enforcement, and have they been forthcoming with some of the information that they have found as they search for Emma?
We have not gathered any type of information that law enforcement has gathered. We kind of just do our own investigation. We would definitely work with the police if the police calls out on us to help. But we are two different entities of law enforcement, and what they do and what we do.
And what have you uncovered finally? Any clues or leads right now?
Right now, it's got like a needle in a haystack. We have Emma's clothing. We have our dogs that are able to scent out Emma, but we almost like she just kind of just vanished, and we're just for answers. So the clues that we found all lead back to place that she was dropped off at that evening, but that's where we're at. We're just like at a stalemate. So we're looking for other people to come forward and to express what they've seen, what they've heard, to help bring closure to Emma and her family.
Lorenzo Longoria, Katrina Overstreet, thank you so much for the support you're providing this family and for also working with us as we try to get this case out there in the headlines. I appreciate you both, and we'll be in touch. I also want to welcome in Lizette Guillen. She's the producer for Case File Chicago. You're also working this case, and we saw you in our WGN affiliate piece. Thank you for your time. What can you share on possible leads and any clues that you have found?
Well, of course, I don't investigate myself, but I work very closely with the police departments that do the investigations, as well as the people, the independent search teams, such as canines. We are supportive in the role that we put a spotlight on these cases. These cases, of course, are all important. This one being especially critical because there is a newborn child that's involved. We don't know if that baby has been born. Well, it should have been born by now, but we don't know the condition. We don't know if that baby or mother needed medical care. So this is an extra critical case that needs to be kicked up a notch. Investigators are talking to several people. The boyfriend, as you mentioned, also a person of interest. He is currently being held at the Lake County Jail in Indiana on failure to appear warrants.
Okay. In my notes from my team, you shared that there is a camper that they're looking for. What more can you add to that?
There is a camper that came in recently. The photo was shared with detectives, and there's a camper that they're looking at. They don't believe that the body is in it, but they do think it has some connection somehow, some way. So police are actively searching for it to come through the area. It's been known to drive around Gary, Indiana. So police are actively searching for that so they can take a look in the vehicle and see what they can come up with.
Any specifics about the camper, what it looked like that people should be on the lookout for in that area?
The camper it's not an RV. Some people kind of mix the two up. It is a camper. It's on wheels. It's one of the smaller ones, and it looks like an older type model. It is beige and light beige in color, and again, it's known to drive around Gary. Although police think that it's not housed in Gary, but does drive around the city of Gary.
What more, as you talk to the family, Lizette, have you been able to gather about Emma's final?
So that's confusing to me. I don't know if it is used one, but I've always heard a camper as being part of accessory that you put over the back of a pickup truck. She's talking about like a little bitty, I don't know what you would call it. I mean, camper, but she said it's not an RV. So what's the difference? Do you know?
Well, when I was a kid, we had a pop-up camper. That's what I was thinking. Or like maybe I was thinking just a smaller type, but one that you put on a trailer hitch. You can put a pop-up camper you can put on the back of a car or like a sedan. That's what I was thinking in my head, but that's huge. Like they know more. They know more. And it's weird. And then Tanel says caravan. I wanted to, so this is really weird. So simultaneously, the boyfriend is a person of interest and they're looking for this camper. They know more. Like there's no question. I wanted to address one other thing that you said though, when we were talking about the missing children. This isn't like a couple kids on a milk carton, you guys. Like it is hundreds and hundreds of thousands of immigrant children are missing right now. Like we don't know where they are. And they've been put into sponsorships. Some of them, it's a huge task that we the people have in front of us to find these children and make sure they're okay. Anyway, so I wanted to say, like, I never got that point out when you were talking about that earlier, and I think that that's something that needs to be said. The camper. Oh yeah, I wanted to say Nina had a really weird comment. She said convicts here in Bama get sent home after autopsy with missing organs. And then she also said I-40 is the busiest interstate, runs straight through Tennessee. So I just saw those two comments that stuck out to me. I wanted to bring up, and now I'll shut up and let you respond. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. You're fine. I would just confused a little bit because, you know, I've always heard of a camper as something that you put on the back of a truck, but it does make sense. Like she said, I guess you're referring to like that small little, this kind of like a little efficiency looking thing that you put on the back of a truck and you tow it around.
I can pull up a picture if you want.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, that'd be great because I'm kind of confused at what that is. I mean, because I guess people call it different things all over the U.S., you know, different names.
I'm going to pull up two options that I think it could be.
Okay.
Actually, I'm going to pull up three because there's one that there's three possibilities, I think, from that description. Hold on.
Okay. Well, let me take this down and then we'll finish it up.
Okay, so the one that I'm guessing it is something along the lines of, hold on. How do I, let me get back here.
You have some great background lighting in there.
What'd you say?
You have some great background lighting going on back there. That's is that like a rounded window?
It's a bay window. It's my desk actually, and I'm cleaning out my office. But if you want, like, if I was to move out of it and take myself out of the lighting, you could see the ocean. It's pretty cool. It's
oh wow. Maybe at the end we can do that. Maybe at the end we can do that. You want to go ahead and put those pictures up there?
Yeah, let me share my screen with you. Okay, so
Okay.
this is what I was envisioning when they were talking. What do you
Okay.
guys think? That's what I was envisioning. Thank you, Christy. And then here, let me show you another example. Somebody said a caravan. So this is option number 2, a pull behind camper. Hold on. I guess
I mean,
I
those would definitely be noticeable. You know, I was wondering if it was small or something like that.
Well, that's not a pull behind, but that was one option. I thought, you know, those go on the back of a pickup truck, so that's another thing it could be. And then I
Yeah,
had
that's what I was thinking right there,
that
just
was
like that.
oh,
Yeah.
well, let me pull it back up. Sorry, 12, not very coordinated today. Okay, there we go. So this is the one that 12 was kind of envisioning, something like this. And they say it's a beige color if you're looking out for this. And then I had one more option. I think it could be. Which is.
So those things are not like hideable, you know, you'd be able to notice those. And that's what I was wondering if they were, you know, something that, you know, everybody uses. And yeah, I was thinking maybe something like that as well.
And I mean, a car can pull that. It doesn't have to be a pickup truck. That's a lightweight 2-wheel camper. You can put that on the back of a sedan. What I'm thinking with a camper, though, and I've never thought of this because I haven't heard a lot of crimes involving a camper, but that's a heck of a lot easier to get rid of than a car. You know what I mean? If you wanted to get rid of that crime scene, that mobile crime scene, that's kind of scary. It's almost as scary as a trucker, you know, mobile crime scene. Like,
right.
Get rid of it. You can get rid of that. Like, I don't know.
So, I mean, if anybody's watching this from the Indiana area on around that area, you know, states, you know, the police have stated this is a vehicle of interest, I guess. I don't know. Would that be fair to say? Vehicle of suspicion, maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're supposed to call the police if you see this camper. But here's the thing they said about that camper, which is interesting, is they said it's a known camper. Like, what the hell is that? A known camper to who? The community? To the family? They're so vague. That's why we know they know something. Not only is this a vague camper is missing and they're on the look for it driving around, which means there's another person. But then you got the boyfriend as a person of interest, or is it police work where they're like telling you the boyfriend's a person of interest so that the suspect doesn't get spooked? I don't know. What do you guys think in the chat? What's a static?
I was just thinking something as well is, you know, that area where she went missing from didn't look like the best area. What if there was homeless people around and this camper was camping out around there, you know?
Oh,
what
that's
if,
yeah.
You know, or if this camper had some kind of like business going on, like I don't know, food truck or something like that, and you know, it was all over Gary, Indiana, and that's how people knew it, you know? You just never really know.
That's a good point. And when we were talking about the truckers, Rondi had said if she went to visit him, wait, doesn't she sound like she's escaping? Doesn't sound like she's escaping. That wasn't the comment though. Somebody, I think it was either Rondi or Ray Tinell said when we were talking about the truckers, she could have had car problems and asked someone for a ride. The possibilities. I wonder if they have they released any information on the cell phone?
Let's look back and let's finish it up. Let's see if they really say anything else. And I can pull up something else as well, another video. What I'm curious to know as well is how big is that point of reference? Like, would she be able to move around pretty quickly? They said she was 5'3", 130 something pounds. I mean, I don't know. Most women that I've known that are about to give birth, the doctor put them on bed rest. Would she be able to just, be casually walking around long distances?
No, and I doubt even like the thought of her doing any sort of like if she has 3 kids. So I mean, yes, she doesn't have the luxury probably of being, bed rest unless doctored ordered. However, like even at that stage, even having 3 kids, you would think that. I mean, I go back to you don't naturally survive on your own. In the last couple weeks of your pregnancy, you need the people around you to live. It doesn't make any sense. Like, why would she even be doing a large task like that? And I get a lot of people are going to be like, well, she had 3 kids. She had to do what she had to do. But even then, like, why was she out and about even on her own? Like, why would she even take, she was.
So it sounds like she got released. She got released from jail. Somebody drove her to her house. And that's the last time that she was seen. So did she even make it? She even make it to her house, or is that just a story that whoever drove her there gave to the police? You get what I'm saying?
Oh, I get what you're saying. It's just the whole thing is giving me chills. Like I'm just like, this story is so disturbing. And you just look at her and you're just like, how did this girl? You see her and she's clearly looking like she's about to give birth. And it's like,
oh yeah.
But I didn't quite know that she was coming straight from jail. I guess I missed that detail.
Let's go ahead and finish the video up and see if they give us any more details.
Times publicly where she was seen last, who she was talking to, any concerns about her safety before she vanished?
There was huge concerns from the family because how far along she was in her pregnancy. Her mother actually pleaded with her, do you have to go today? Because she was going to the boyfriend's house. It's believed that, she wanted to talk to the boyfriend about the baby that was coming up. So they were going to have conversation. The mother, though, knowing that she was so far along in this pregnancy, said, you have to go, you don't have to go. That was the last time that Emma's mom, Janie, saw her. And her 2 sisters dropped her off physically at the boyfriend's house on 2500 block of Connecticut Street.
Does Emma have other children? So she was at the end of the term of this pregnancy. How many other kids does she have?
She's got 3 other children. One of them is 6, and the other ones are 2 and 3.
Okay, and who's caring for those little ones right now?
The family is all taking care of them. This is a tremendous family. This family is very loving. It's a very big family. So for Emma to go missing like this is really unlikely because there's so many of them that talk on a daily basis and stay connected, that this is really unlike Emma to just go missing.
One of the things that we run into often, and I know, Liz, that you do in your work, is the community wants to help, but oftentimes misinformation can get spread. And I believe that's been the case, at least in part, in Emma's disappearance. Anything you'd like to clear up that's misinformation floating around as people search for her?
Yeah, thank you, Mark, for bringing that up. This is a real case. These are real people. I know a lot of times people like to help, they want to help. However, if you do have certain information, please take it to local authorities. Take it to the Gary Police Department so they can cipher through it and triage as they need to, instead of putting it on Facebook. We're seeing a lot of information being put on Facebook, and those things could hinder a case. As we know that there's some stuff that may be sensitive, and those things really need to be getting to the police department. On top of that, as they're putting out information, people are starting to come up with their own conclusions to what happened to Emma and the baby. And that could cause people to just stop looking altogether. If they feel like there's a certain suspect that's already there, they may feel like, well, we don't need to look anymore because there's already somebody. And I do want to clarify at this point, there are no suspects, just simply persons of interest.
All right. And finally, are there any active searches planned? I'm looking outside here in Chicago right now. We've got snow coming down. It's getting cold. Any searches planned now or in the days and weeks ahead?
There is one plan from the Gary Police Department. I'm not sure on the date yet. Today's weather is, snowy. And I know that the independent search teams have gone nonstop. I mean, rain, sleet, snow, they're going to be out there. So they're greatly appreciated by the family and the community who has seen them every day searching. But as far as law enforcement, I know there's something coming up, but I'm not sure when.
All right. Lizette Guillen, I thank you for your time. Producer for Case Files Chicago. We'll be in touch as we continue to follow this case and pray for the family that they have answers and they have Emma home soon. I thank you so much. If you have information that can help locate Emma Baum, you can contact the Gary, Indiana Police Department. Here again is her picture, and she is known to have different color hair. Her natural hair color is brown, and we've seen an image of her with short hair. They've got a tip hotline. That number is 866-CRIME-GP. We have several other new pieces of information to pass along to you in the ongoing search for a missing TV news anchor from Iowa, Jody Huisentruit. This is a case that we know you care about. Since our story aired, we've had more than 1 million views on social media. Jody's disappearance remains an active and open investigation nearly 30 years after she vanished on her way to work in Mason City, Iowa. We spoke with a private investigator working this case, and he revealed several new details that we hadn't heard before in the investigation, including the theory that Jody may be within 30 miles of where she was taken and in a body of water. What leads you to believe, Steve, that she could be in some water somewhere or was at that time?
Well, I have pretty good information that not only is she in water, but that there is a very specific type of weight that has been used to weigh down her body at the time, which unfortunately would take the remains very, very deeply, probably to the low point in any body of water, and certainly well below all of the ensuing, dirt and rust and fill that would, typically gather over time. So I think that does reduce the chances of a successful recovery pretty substantially, below 50%.
Local police have not confirmed what Steve Ridge is alleging, only that the case is still active and an open investigation. One thing we do know is a person police have always been interested in is also on Steve's list as a person of interest and possible suspect, and that man is John Van Cise.
Unfortunately, John's health is very, very bad at this point. He's, I can tell you for the first time publicly that he is permanently incapacitated. I just have that information as of this morning. So there very likely would not be a route for prosecution of somebody that cannot aid in their defense.
Has he always maintained his innocence even before, as you mentioned, now he is unable to do so?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Have you ruled John Van Cise out as a possibility?
I can't say that I've ruled him out, no.
And again, Van Cise has denied he was involved in any way in Jody's disappearance. If you have any information that can help in the search for Jody Huisentruit, contact the local police department in Mason City, Iowa, or the Iowa Division of Criminal Investigation.
Wow. You know, that lady said something that was interesting to me, Swamp. She said, we don't want to give up the impression that we're focused on one person. That way people stop searching for other suspects.
Yeah.
And I thought that was pretty smart of her to say that, because most of the time when you hear, well, this person's been arrested for failure to appear, whatever, in your mind you think, well, that plus that equals that,
Oh, yeah, 100%. I had a couple of, I'm just trying to look. So I don't know. It's just so weird. Like, her sisters dropped her off. So.
Yeah, this is her residence right here. This one right here.
She wasn't even living there. It's hard to even gather anything from it. She's
Right.
just like a warm place to lay her head. She just got out of jail.
That was her boyfriend's residence, I think. So her sisters took her and dropped her off.
Okay, so a couple of thoughts that come to my mind. Was she let out of prison simply because she was about to give birth? Or was she let out of prison because her sentence was served? That's a question I would have. And then the second one is, if her sisters dropped her off, I mean, instantly that's where the police are going to go to find her, is where they dropped her off. Like, I don't know. How did this investigation not, when does this investigation start? Like, when did they start worrying where she was? How long did they think she was just there? Like, and there is no cell phone data probably, because she probably didn't have a cell phone. She just got out of prison. Like, this whole thing is like a perfect storm.
I mean, this doesn't look like an area that if somebody would pick you up, nobody would be noticing you missing. I mean, look at some of these houses, and I'm not trying to be judgmental, but you know, it doesn't look like the best of areas. You know?
Not only that, but it also doesn't look like the kind of place where people could get up and walk in this kind of weather. And not that she would be walking anywhere under her any long distance in her circumstances, but it's also a normal person probably wouldn't go try to get into town on foot. Like,
Rondi said she was pregnant, not disabled.
I know. I know.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you.
I mean, I wonder if they searched in any of these old abandoned houses.
That's a good point.
You know what I mean? Like, usually in neighborhoods like that, there are a lot of abandoned homes. And you know, I heard somebody say a while ago, while we were listening to this missing, they were talking about another person, and they said their first search, they missed a person. And there was recently a lady here in the town that I live in. She used to work at the Walmart. She was a greeter, and there were orders. And her daughter filed a missing persons report because she didn't show up for work. And they went into the home. They looked all around, didn't find anything. And then this man who goes into homes after they've been condemned or whatever to clean them out, he found her body under all this trash, not really trash, but hoarding stuff, old newspapers, all kinds of stuff, and she was mummified. That's how long it's been. So I mean, sometimes you can miss the first time around, you're searching because you're just you don't want to find them, but you want to find them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and you don't necessarily know what you're looking for. You're just looking to see if there's a sign of life in those areas. And I mean, so many elements of the case we were just talking about change when you find out she just got out of jail, because the kids are already in a safe place.
Right.
But still, the likelihood of her wanting to escape, it is so awful. Like, I wonder when this investigation started, wonder what they know. And if it didn't start so quickly, did they suspect something happened to her early on? Or I don't know. It's hard to say that. I mean, they have the canine unit. I don't know. It's weird.
I mean, and also, did anybody live in these apartments? Did they see anything? I don't see any cameras anywhere.
I wonder if there's any true crimers covering this that have been out there.
Do what?
I wonder if there's any true crimers who have actually been out there covering this. Like,
I don't know.
Be interesting to
I'm not close enough to Indiana to really do it. I would. I'm interested in all that.
I would too. It's a very.
Would you go to that house and look around and try to look for evidence and stuff if you were close by? Look, there's
Not
a
by
dog
myself,
right there.
yeah. I mean, if I could, I would see what the neighbors say. There used to be a rule in journalism, and it was more, people used to say it all the time before internet took over. and when newspapers were still, you know, dominant, which is if you didn't go there, it didn't happen. Meaning there's no way you can possibly cover the story unless you go there and talk to people or see it from that angle. And it's when you first hear it, you're like, oh yeah. But then when you really think about it, in order to write a story, you need that firsthand experience. And even Idaho 4, I mean, think about how many times when the trial was being held in Latah, think about how many times we wanted to know, oh, Twiz, what did BK look like? Who was in the courtroom? What was the feeling in the courtroom? Did you think AT sounded like she was in a good mood? What did you think Lodson was, you know, what was he worried about? Was Mathos smirking? You know, these are the questions that we had for somebody in person. No way you can guess that. No way you can replicate that by just hearing somebody's account. So the first rule of journalism is going there. And so if we're covering true crime and we have the capability of actually going there, it's going to be an infinitely better story. I think it rings true too when we see like which creators blow up. A lot of them travel to the location. They do really, really well. People want to hear that, the details.
You know, as far as investigative tactics, I was always wondering, and I've wondered this since I've been taking the courses, is what disqualifies an area for you not to search? Like, this house is across the street, okay? Let me give you the perimeter here. It's
but I mean, what
this.
right do you also have to search as well? You know what I mean? They're private property. So you can't, I don't know.
Right. So this house is right here. So there's 2 vacant houses right here. What would disqualify these homes for you to actually go in and look? You know what I mean? I know you just can't bust in, and it's not like the movies where you can bust in and search anywhere you want. But, you know, do you have any feedback on that?
God, it's so hard. You would think that if there's an active missing persons case, particularly if there's an emergency situation like the baby's about to be born, like you would think I think it might have to do with public safety or emergency that they can actually ask a property owner if they can search their house. There are certain laws on the books. Every state varies, but there's a certain caveat to the law where firemen, they need to be able to, people like UPS, the mailman, the firemen, your paramedics, they need to be able to enter a private property and not get charged with trespassing right when they set foot on it. So meaning people are allowed to come on your property and you have to tell them, you know, to leave before it's trespassing. My point is this, is like, could a policeman, is it within their power in an active emergency situation to enter a property until they've been told to leave? Now, I know you can't search a property without a warrant, but I don't know what extent that is. I don't know. Maybe they can't enter the premises. Maybe they can ask for permission. I did like Tanel's comment. How long was she in prison and what was it for? I mean, those are questions spinning in my head too. Kind of.
But I mean, when you say prison to me is totally different than jail. I know some people call jail prison, but are you meaning like the county jail, or are you meaning that she was incarcerated for months in a prison, like away from her house?
I don't know. I wrote down the term jail because I thought I heard them say that on the newscast, but your guess is as good as mine. I mean,
but you know what I mean? Like, I've heard different people from different states call jail prison, you know, and it's interesting to me. Like, it is interesting to know whether she was actually just in the county jail or if she was actually in the prison, you know, in the Department of Corrections.
Yeah. I always use the term incarceration now just because I get those terms mixed up quite a bit.
Yeah.
But it'd be interesting. I wonder if we could, I wonder how we find out any more about this. Like if we get a police report or something like that. Like, is that easy to do right now? All I know how to do is look up the court cases on the Idaho 4 judicial case.
I mean, what you can do is sometimes like the public information sites, they can, they can might pull up. You can might like if you pay for a day pass or something, you can type in Emma Baum, Gary, Indiana, and it's gonna disclose all the judgments against her, or the legal issues and stuff like that. I mean, it could do that on anybody. So that's how people do doxing on YouTube. Let's listen to what her sister had to say on this other interview. Let's see if she says anything different than she said on the other one. Are you still good?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Okay, here we go.
So if you do see a missing Emma, she may be with her newborn baby. This case is very critical because we don't know if that baby has gotten the care that it needs. And of course, Emma, I'm sure, is also in a state of where she needs additional medical care. So we need to put an extra critical on this one because now we understand there is a newborn that is possibly with Emma. Again, Emma missing. She's been missing over a month now. 9 months pregnant, and she may be with the newborn baby. If you have any information, please call the Gary Police Department. You can also call 911.
Hi, my name is Jamie Baum, Jamie Baum. I'm Emma Baum's mother. I would like my daughter home. You miss her. Her babies need her, her family needs her, and if anybody knows anything or can help search for her, could you please help us? We need her home. Thank you.
Say something for your mommy.
First last name Jamie Baum, Jamie Baum.
Aww.
Say anything, baby?
I miss your mom. Show me your poster.
You drew that for your mom. Okay. He drew that down there for his mama.
I can't imagine.
You want to tell your mom you miss her? You want her home? Tell your mom you miss her. You want her home.
Tell mom you miss her.
Lizzie, Mom, and I hope you can come home. And I believe in Jesus, and I miss my brother and mom.
Good job. No, okay.
Hi, my name is Abigail Smith. I am Emma Baum's older sister.
We're just going to get this a little higher so that we can hear you. Is that good for everybody?
My name is Abigail Smith. Abigail is Abigale Smith, Smith. We've all gathered here today because we are looking for my sister. She was 1 centimeter dilated on October 4th. She has been missing since October 10th. At this point, we have done everything we can, and now we ask the public to please help us. We have put our own lives at risk. We've went into abandoned houses. We've dug in dirt piles, looking for any and every source of evidence that we can possibly find to connect us to be able to bring her home. My sister is beautiful. She's energetic. She reaches for the sky just like a sunflower, which is her favorite. At this point, without anyone's actual help, we cannot provide any answers for her children, and the holidays are coming. We want her and her baby to be safe, and anybody at any point, any time of any sun, night, it does not matter. If you are willing to help us, you will be rewarded. We need her to come home. All of us, grandma, sisters, brothers, family, friends, we will not stop until we know where she is. So if you guys can please provide us some answers, you will be doing us a huge favor. And at this point, you will be a hero to so many. As you see, we stand here in the middle of Gary, Indiana, because my sister had a heart of gold. It didn't matter who you were or where you were. She cared and she was willing to do whatever she could for everyone around her. Now I ask for you guys, please, to do the same. Love you, Emma. And if you can hear us, there's nothing that you have done to make any of us stop loving you. And it's time. We are here. We will do anything to keep you safe, to get you back. Just please come home.
I just needed to come home. I've always been here for all my grandkids.
12, can you rewind that like
Emma's
30
the oldest
seconds?
of this family. And like
far
Abby
back?
said, she was the best.
There was just one statement.
You,
Just
Emma.
30.
And if you can hear, as you see, we stand here in the middle of Gary, Indiana, because my sister had a heart of gold.
Right
It
there.
didn't matter who you were or where you were. She cared and she was willing to do whatever she could for everyone around her. Now I ask for you guys, please, to do the same. We love you, Emma. And if you can hear us, there's nothing that you have done to make any of us stop loving you. And it's time. We are here. We will do anything to keep you safe, to get you back. Just please come home.
Did I go far enough?
I just needed
Yeah,
to
that
come
was
home.
perfect.
I've always been here for all my grandkids, and Emma's the oldest of this family. And like Abby said, she was the best. And I know she loves her babies, and Camden misses her so much. That's it. Please help us.
Spell your first and last name.
I'm sorry?
Spell your first and last name.
Barbara, Barbara, Waddell, Waddell.
You're Emma's grandmother.
Thank you.
You're Emma's grandmother.
Yes, I'm her dad's mom.
Yeah, absolutely.
Grandma.
No. So sorry for all of you, what you're going through. Would anyone be able to share with us the last day that you saw Emma? Obviously, we're near where she was last seen. Could you give us some information about what those last hours that you knew where she was were like, so we can share that with our viewers?
Well, she was dropped off at her boyfriend's house, her boyfriend Antoine, and her sister Jewel and Jaden had dropped her off on Thursday night, and she had promised she'd be back Friday to do something with Camden Friday. And she didn't show up home after that, so we called, and we didn't get any answer Friday. And then we waited Saturday, called her boyfriend Sunday, and he had told us and told me that he seen her leave with some girl in a car, which we found out that is not true. So, and then he also told my other daughters that other stories. Yeah, we don't know.
One thing I never understand in these cases, Swamp, is why people lie. Why do people lie? You know, like what she just said. He told them that she left with one of her friends, which they found out later was a lie. Why need to lie? I mean, I never get that. I never get why people choose to lie instead of just being open.
I mean, there's the obvious thing, which is he's lying because he's trying to cover his tracks, and he thought he came up with the, best. So that's the obvious thing. That's the biggest red flag. But why do people lie? I mean, people lie for different reasons, to save themselves from being embarrassed for one reason. Maybe he got into a fight with his 9-month pregnant wife who just got out of jail. People lie for a variety of reasons, to save embarrassment, pride, no good reasons, selfish, egotistical reasons, but people lie to avoid conflict, but with that said, my God, if we're going to pause right here, I have a few things to say about that.
Okay.
two sisters go. So I wrote a few things down, starting with the first sister that spoke. So she started speaking with undertones of hope. She might still be alive. Let's find her, blah, 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 blah. Then we moved to the son. The son came up and spoke, showing pictures of his mom. He let out that it was a little boy. He wants his brother back. So we know now, not for whatever it's worth, the baby was a boy. So maybe because Rondi said they found last week, they found an abandoned baby found at a homeless camp. Oh, I don't know. That may be where Rondi lives. I thought it was in Gary, India. But anyway, this is what I thought was the most interesting is when they got to the second older sister. I don't know about you guys, but I think she was speaking in code for sure. It was masterfully done, but she was definitely saying some very distinctive things to me, to my suspicious mind. And I will tell you what I think she was saying. I think that first off, she said her life was at risk, they put their lives at risk. That was the first red flaggy code word statement, I thought. She did mention shuffling through abandoned houses and going through things, but she specifically said her life was at risk. They didn't say we almost got hurt or we almost went to the hospital or it wasn't safe. They said they put their lives at risk. She also said, if you come forward, you will be rewarded. Now, she disguised that with a lot of different flowery words, like you will be a hero in your community, but she specifically said and paused in there, you will be rewarded. Now, we're talking about someone who is just in jail. So we know we're talking about somebody who is in the criminal community. So combined with we put our lives at risk and you will be rewarded. And then she starts saying, you will be a hero if you come forward. And then she says, with everything she's done for everyone around you, she specifically says you when she says this, she goes, we ask you to do the same. These aren't vague general statements to the public. These are specifically directed at one person, flowered with public statements. And then she goes on to say, then she goes on to relieve the guilt of her sister and saying, nothing you've done has caused for this to happen. I mean, this is powerful stuff. I think, and then it just boils down to then we left off right at the lives. Oh, she got into a car with this person, blah, 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 blah. But they're looking for a camper. We know it sounds like it's somebody else besides because it sounded like it's still mobile. So not the boyfriend in custody. They're talking to somebody. And I don't know. What are your thoughts? Did I get it wrong, chat? I think she was speaking in code. Did you pick up on that too, or was that just me?
That's a great catch right there, because I heard it, at the same time you were hearing it, but I wasn't listening to it with that type of ear, I guess. But you heard that, and that I did hear what you were saying. That is like she was talking to somebody like, look, I know I'm on to you. Do the right thing type stuff, be a hero, or just what you said. Everything you said was on point. I agree with you.
Thank you. It was chilling to hear. And I mean, there's always one in every family. There's always that one that can deliver it. And, that was the one. She was the matriarch who stepped forward to deliver that message. Or maybe she was the one who knew it, but yeah, I don't know. It is what it is.
Well, I mean, they said that they had a huge family and they're, fairly close. So, if there's no reason why sisters don't talk about what's going on, or family members don't know what kind of struggles you're having or who you're dating, it seems like it's very common to be able to know, okay, my sister would do this, my sister wouldn't do that, things like that. It just wouldn't go unnoticed.
100%. And I mean, you have your best friends and you might, tell your heart and soul and all your passions to, but for all intents and purposes, your sisters know the essential details. you know, and you
Right.
can be best friends with your sisters too, but for all intents and purposes, that's your blood. You know,
Yeah.
there are certain things they don't know, particularly if you're about to have a baby and you've just been in jail. Like, you've already given up the intimacy in your life. Like, you just got out of jail. Like, you were just incarcerated. Like, you're gonna be telling the essential information to your sisters, and they
I
wanted
think
to give us more time.
somebody in chat mentioned very early on about the other fathers
I thought
of the other children. Whether they all had the same father or whether they had different fathers. Obviously, Antoine was the father of this child. And how could he not be concerned that his child is missing? His child mother is missing. That, I mean, I'm not saying that he isn't, but you know, how does he get involved in all that? What is his level of involvement in this? He said she got a ride from a friend. That's so generic.
Can you say that again? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. 12.
I was saying, like, how could he not be more? I mean, I don't know that he isn't, but I'm just wondering, how could he not be more proactive in trying to give more insightful information other than the generic, well, she got a ride with a friend? You know? How come it isn't, well, I noticed that morning we had just had a good morning. She was on her way to go get the baby some diapers, or, she went to go get some formula, or, when the baby would be here, whatever, you know. Um, but the mom was concerned enough not wanting to let her leave. I mean, so she must have been ready to pop.
Agreed. I totally agree. And then you bring up a good point. You'd think it wouldn't be them checking on her. You think it'd be the opposite. His son is about to be born. You think he'd be checking in to see, are you getting ready to go to the hospital? What's going on with you? And then just to, make sure we're proposing the timeline exactly. When they dropped her off on Friday after 12 said, the mom said, no, just stay here, don't go. And she wanted to work out things to do with the baby who was about to be born. And they dropped her off on Friday. They gave her all of Saturday. They didn't want to interfere. I mean, she's a 25-year-old woman, 24-year-old woman. She hasn't had her freedom in a period of time. She's about to be, attached to, she already is, but she's about to be taking care of a newborn. They probably wanted to give her some time with her boyfriend, hopefully work their relationship out. They're bringing a life into this world. So they gave her space. It's just so crazy. And that was the fatal, unfortunately, we gave the person or whatever is going on, because it's obviously foul play, an extra 24 hours to do whatever they had to freaking do. And, but yeah, they called on Sunday to check up on her to see what was going on. And it should have been the opposite. It should have been like 12 just said, Antoine calling to check and see if his wife had her baby yet. Or if his girlfriend had her baby yet.
Of course. I mean, I would be like, you're not going anywhere without me. I'm going with you. Like, you're carrying my child, the area looks sketchy as get out anyways. You know what I mean? It's like, you're not going anywhere alone. I'm going with you. But we don't know the semblance of what conversations were had at the end. Did she leave angry? Did she leave upset? Did they have an argument about the child? Did they have, any of this stuff? We don't know any of this. So we don't know the context. And it could have been something that there was no argument. There was no annoyance. It was just, well, I'll see you later. And she left and nobody's seen her since.
You know what this kind of just, when you said that, it made me think of, and tell me in the chat if you agree with me, if you're old enough to remember, when Lacey Peterson went missing. She was like 9 months pregnant as well, like getting ready to give birth. And now that I'm thinking about it, she was out walking her dogs that morning, and she was doing a bunch of chores. Like, she was not having her husband cater to her in one, as far as we know, bit. And so her going out and doing activities on her own was not unusual. And
Right.
I don't know, I'm just finding chilling reminders of that. But it's interesting, like in all these scenarios, we're looking at like one living in these situations and rundown houses with abandoned houses in a very remote kind of you know, I think kind of implying a seedy neighborhood or whatever. And then we got Lacey Peterson in this like upper class, you know, house and beautiful, like one of the nicest houses on the block, perfectly manicured lawn, perfectly put together house, but we can sense it. And I'm not saying he did it. I know there's a whole controversy. I haven't watched it, but you know what I mean? Like, I don't know what I'm trying to say. Sorry, Chad. But it reminded me of Lacey Peterson.
It's fine. We get the comparison. You're right. I mean, it could be nothing more than I'm gonna go for a walk, you know. I need some air. I can barely breathe. I can't imagine being that big. And one thing that I've always heard of my friends that have had children that, you know, they're very big like that, you know, and they're small stature, they say you have a hard time breathing.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so maybe she needed some fresh air. Maybe the house was a mess. You know, maybe she just wanted to, you know, walk around or whatever. And you know, it's always tragic too because you don't know what Antoine was into, whether he owed anybody any money, whether he was selling drugs, whether he was using drugs, whether, you know, he was a drug dealer or any of this stuff. We don't know his background. Or there could have been nothing there. Okay, I don't want to insinuate one way or the other, but that always leads to the pieces as well. You know, at this point, we really don't have much.
I don't know. I think we have more in this case than we even realize. Because unless I'm mistaken, the police left this entire timeline in his living room.
Yeah.
There was no. Now we've heard the statement from her that the one whose face is showing right now, that there were multiple statements about she left in a car with a girlfriend. That was untrue. We heard several other things that changed. But as far as the official record, she was last seen at her boyfriend. There is no, she got into a car, she went off on foot. There isn't an official story. This whole
So
thing.
if you're looking at this unbiased, okay,
Mhm.
and that's what you hear. The last known is she was at her boyfriend's house.
His living room.
Yeah.
And you think if there was some sort of story that was going to be run with, it would have been placed in the media or any place for the police to focus the public to focus their attention. She left, for example, in a gray sedan. She left on foot, headed north. She was wearing Uggs and a, puffy jacket.
Right.
Nothing. Just
I mean, they said when that guy that was doing the canine searches, he said when he went in there, he didn't see anything of too much interest. He saw some of her clothing. He saw, a little bit of hygiene stuff, but nothing really stuck out to him or the dogs. Like the dogs, they caught the scent, but it just resonated around the area where she would have been walking.
It's awful. So it does. Now we know this thing about a camper. I mean, let's think back to what they said about the camper for a second. It's a known camper. It's mobile. I wonder if we went on Google Earth. Can you go back in time? I wonder if this is a camper that was parked at that address in previous months, like a month before this.
I don't know. Let's finish this this interview here with the family and see if they have anything else to say, and then we'll look into that.
Okay.
How she got disappeared from this address right here at the moment.
So, hi, I'm Evelyn from Channel 7. So, this is the area where she was dropped off.
At the house behind us.
That one there, or this one here?
The brown house behind us.
Okay. And is this where this Antoine?
He lived in the back, yes.
Okay, he doesn't live there anymore?
He's in jail right now.
Oh, okay, all right.
Now, and no disrespect, man, he's obviously, he's the child's
Father.
baby's father.
Yes.
Okay, the child's
Mhm.
father.
Yes, ma'am.
How can you give us some information about how long they've been together?
They've been over a year. They've been together for a year.
Did she give any indication? Was she concerned about him? Was he nothing?
No, I mean, no, not that. I mean, let's say, not that we're aware of.
What have police told you so far about?
Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
How many times have you
Only once, and then it wasn't very good. And he doesn't, the detective doesn't return my phone calls.
As it relates to Antoine, he said he's in jail now?
Yes.
Is that related to?
It is now.
Is that related to this case?
It is now. At first, he got picked up in Hammond on a warrant. They picked him up, and then he's in there. So now he's being held for this case.
As a person of interest? In
Yes.
her disappearance?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
Do you believe he had something to do with her disappearance?
Yes, I do.
What do you think happened?
I think he hurt my baby. And when you find where she's at.
Anybody else want to say anything?
Oh, I think he hurt my baby.
If Emma is watching this or hearing this, what do you
I
want?
wish she was. I love you.
If Emma is watching this, Emma, your baby wants you. He wants to know why you weren't there for Halloween. He wants to know when he's gonna meet his brother or his sister. Isn't that right?
Yeah.
Yes. Right, we are waiting. And no matter what, we will not until we know where she is.
Absolutely.
It does not matter what we think. What matters is what's getting done. We need help. We need help. All of these families need help. Our family needs help.
Yeah, we need to search for Janiyah as well.
We need.
She was taken or lost at the same time, around the same time.
We would like them to start answering the calls when the family has tips and they're trying to help our own selves. You know, that is what we need. Is every police department, every agency. This is not just one missing woman. We have children that are missing.
We need the detectives and stuff to start working with our family and return my phone calls. I've never even had a meeting with him.
What's the detective's name?
Salazar?
I'm sorry?
Salazar?
Okay. Do you have a first name on Salazar? Or we'll figure it out. You know what it is.
M. Salazar.
We'll figure it out. You may have already said this, but I'm sorry, the
Camden.
Camden.
Camden, and how old is he?
6.
Okay.
He's her first child.
Okay.
And then she has another child, Lucas and Emberly. They're all home with their dads and nanas. She has 3 children, and the baby would be 4.
Okay. What are the ages?
He's 6, 3, and 2.
Okay. And where? And I'm sorry if you said this earlier. Where? Did Emma live?
She always stay with me most of the time.
Is that in here?
Back
Portage.
Portage,
Okay,
yeah.
Do you know if Emma had her phone with her wallet?
She had her phone, but she was going to get it turned on that Friday. That next day, she was planning on getting it turned on before she got home.
So she doesn't have,
It was not on.
doesn't have a phone. Okay.
She was just using Wi-Fi.
Right. How long had you been dating Antoine?
I think over a year.
Okay. All right.
They've been seeing each other.
Do you have Antoine's last name?
Butler.
Yes.
Antoine Butler.
And when did he go? When was he taken into custody? When did he go to?
What day was that? The 29th, I think it was. He got picked up on a warrant in Hammond.
October.
Oh, October. Yeah.
He's held on the warrant, but he is a person of interest.
Not well. He went to court, and that's that was taken care of 2 days ago. And
The warrant was taken care of 2 days ago?
yeah, he already went to court for that. So now he's just being held for Emma for this case.
They
Right.
can only hold somebody for a very short period.
Well, I'm not sure.
This
I don't know about
gentleman
that yet.
actually has a huge past. I do not have enough information to speak on him at this current time. Realistically, he is not our concern. He was the last physical person to be with our sister. We do have a message from her. Her last message was sent at 5:32 p.m. saying that she had arrived to meet him at this location. So from here on out, nobody can prove anything or find anything from point A to point B. The last message was, she is here, to Antoine Butler. If he has any information, we would really like the detectives and the police to actually start putting, and we are unable to ask him because he is incarcerated for things that he did prior to this. Unfair. They're making it harder for us to be able to find her, to know if she went to a specific house or location, and we want to make sure she's not hurt somewhere. What if she can't call us? And she did not have an active phone, but Emma would never go this long without talking. She has a sister or brother for almost every day of the week. Our grandmother, there she has people that love her, and regardless of what anyone may say or think, we do care. There is nothing that she can do to make us not love her.
Everybody loves her in this family deeply.
How do you spell Antoine's name? Do you know?
Antwon, and then Butler is Butler. And Emma, if you're out there, I'm never gonna learn these TikTok dances without you. Like, you are important.
May I ask one more question? You know, I'm noticing you all keep saying there's nothing we can do to stop us from loving you. What has occurred that would make you say,
If she's out somehow, if she's out, somewhere hearing us or anything, there's like she needs to decide if she's the one, out there.
So what you're saying is, don't, if it's something's gone south, you're not in trouble. We're
Right.
not
Yes.
angry.
Right. Exactly.
We love you. Come on home. We want
Right.
to make sure you and the baby are safe.
Exactly.
Okay, got it. I just wanted to be
Absolutely.
clear
Thank
about
you.
it.
Yeah.
And I didn't want, I'm not trying to offend anybody. I just want to make sure I'm clear so I understand.
No, that's exactly it.
And then, to your knowledge, is he in custody in Hammond or is he in Gary?
So let's use our brains a minute, Swamp, Kiki. Let's use our brains. What could have went sideways that would have made her run off?
No, I was just thinking along the same lines, hearing that line of statements. If something happened to the baby, if she gave birth and something happened, and it doesn't make sense why she would just give birth in a living room and not call an ambulance. I mean, it doesn't sound like she didn't have a plan. I mean, they were all by her side, but something went awry, something happened to the baby. She might think she's in trouble if they haven't found the baby either. So worst case scenario, other than this, something just happened to the baby and she panicked, being that she just left jail and she is scared of maybe her, that her word might not be.
That does make sense, because I remember covering a scenario kind of like that. The girl gave birth in the bedroom and she killed the baby and buried her in the backyard. She was like 19 years old, but because she was scared. Not same scenario, but
No, it's not the same scenario, but we're hearing that. How else do we, interpret that? Unless she thought it would be a good idea to give birth in secrecy and hide a newborn in secrecy, which again is possible in nature, but not something we're adapted to in modern society, something you probably have to study for. I don't know if you'd be studying up that and then get out of prison the next day and do it. I don't know. But you can't help but make your mind go there when you hear the family making statements saying, we'll forgive you, but you need to get home.
I mean, there's a lot that goes into delivery, isn't there? I mean, it's not like you could just deliver it on your living room floor and, be okay. I mean, you have to kind of know what you're doing, right? I mean, cut the umbilical cord, the placenta, all that stuff. And I'm not trying to be gross, but I mean, there's a lot of stuff that goes into delivery. There's a lot of things that come out of the body that, if they're not processed correctly, it could cause a lot of damage to the mother and the child.
Exactly. And so, we know that it's possible that somebody goes off and gives birth to a child, but we're not adapted to it in our modern society. We don't have the skills to just randomly do that. And then, like you said, even if you accomplish giving birth, then caring for the newborn in the body of the mother is just not something we're adapted to. Our bodies aren't even adapted to that. We don't even have the capability to ward off the infections, that aren't in a hospital environment. I don't know. It's so scary. It's just so scary. And we pray for the baby, but God, if the mother could be alive, the families will know.
It could have been anything as simple as he shoved her, she shoved him, he hit her in the stomach.
Yeah.
Anything.
That's an interesting scenario too. Culpability on both sides. I don't know.
Yeah. And, if maybe she's trying to keep him from going and getting in trouble, or because it's really strange how no matter the position a male may put a female in, a lot of times in this lifestyle, the female will cover for that male no matter what. It's like they're down with them for whatever, it's like, you may have caused my baby to die, but I'm still not going to let you go to prison for it. And I'm not going to go to prison for it. So let's try to cover this up. And I'm just speculating right now, but I mean, you just never know if it's something as simple as that.
Well, I mean, and I think that plays into the culture a little bit too, is once you start dabbling in a life of crime, or even hanging out with people who dabble in a life of crime, one of the things that gets drilled into your head, or that the scum of the earth are snitches. And, I mean, I'm just saying, and then, then you get put in that situation when you say that women tend to be ride or die with these type people and cover for them. I think that part of that is the fear that has been drilled into the head of, you don't rat people out and you're the scum of the earth. And also you're probably in danger if you are one of those rats. And then it comes time with the person you love and you're the one to put the hammer down and say something, you might not be a snitch for a multitude of different reasons. And you might have a deep-seated, that you might believe it's the wrong thing to do no matter what.
Exactly.
My opinion is maybe not just a mental defect. It might be a survival instinct too. I don't know. I'm just talking.
Yeah, you're right. Point there. I mean, it could have been something as simple as that. They could have got into an argument. I mean, because in that culture, there's always the level of who's cheating on who. Did he follow up on what he was supposed to do as a potential father to be? Did he did he put money on her books while she was gone? I mean, it could be anything.
Yeah.
The propensity for an argument is just very strong. Let's finish this and then let's look around, like you said, on the Google Earth.
Lake County Jail. Yes, he was picked up in Hammond for his own problems. We don't know what they are. Our biggest concern has been her, Antoine. did send a message to me saying that we can do anything and everything possible to help find her, that he is 100% on board because it is his child, but his story changes and everything is different. And at this point, you know, we trust that somebody knows something,
And we want her
and
home.
we want her
We
home.
want her home. We need her, Emma.
Have you been able, anyone in his family reached out or been able to be helpful to you in any way?
Not at all. No.
No.
Do you know about how old he is? Approximate age?
Too. I'm not sure.
You know how old he is? 28.
You mentioned that you searched different places for her. Where did you look?
All over Gary. Abandoned buildings, people's houses that we know.
We've knocked on doors. We've stood
All
in the
over.
middle of the road. We put signs up on poles, every gas station from point A to point B. Like, handed them out. Anyone on Facebook, we've been through Facebook. We've mentioned everybody that's been friends with her, trying to connect who's friends with her as well as him. Like, we are putting in a lot of effort. We are risking our own lives going into these places against what anyone says, because she is our number one priority. Like, we will do whatever it takes. And if I get in trouble for trespassing in an abandoned house from the city of Gary, and they're unwilling to go in there, then I feel like they are not doing enough to help us. It's not just one, this is two. That child was 9 months in her stomach. That is a full-term baby. Right? We have people fighting for 8-week fetuses. Why can't anybody help any baby that should physically be here?
We
This
need
is
search team.
impossible
We have had
not
no
to have
one
a baby.
try to, no one in county or anything for the police to search for her yet at all. No search teams, no dogs, no canines,
We have
nothing yet.
Team
from
Canine.
them,
They have
from
been
county,
amazing. They have been helpful, but we have
Yes,
had to
our
go
search
out of our
team
way
has
to
been
find
wonderful.
people that are willing to help us because they care, and they don't even get paid to help. So can we please take some of our resources, what our taxes, what we help provide for? Please help us before we have more that are hurt, more that are lost. This place is scary. Yes, we shouldn't be doing it alone.
Yeah, you're right.
We shouldn't be doing it alone. Yes. So,
My sweetheart. He's okay.
Hi, my name is Sylvia Galvin, Sylvia Galvan. I'm with Circle of Love in Northwest Indiana. Just want to tell the community that we need your help. We need help finding Emma. We need help bringing her home to her beautiful family. She has children waiting for her. Her little guy here wants his mom to come home. Someone out there knows something. Someone always knows something. You can call, be anonymous. Just please call the Gary Police Department or reach out to one of us, and we will take information from you so we could bring Emma home, save her and baby, so she could be with her little guy here and the rest of her family.
Thank you. I just want my daughter home. We all miss her greatly. I need my daughter.
thank you everyone for being here. We do appreciate you. Thank you, Team K9.
And you want to say something?
I just want to say one thing.
You know, this is sad that at a community on here on YouTube, we should be talking about this non-stop. And like you said, it's been almost a month before you heard anything about it, and I didn't hear anything about it till like 2 days ago, because I happened to stumble across a thumbnail that had a pregnant looking woman on there, and I saw it and I was like, what the hell is going on now? You know, like, poor pregnant woman. She's missing. This is 2019. So as a true crime community, I suggest that we align and do better, that we do more. What do you think?
I mean, here's the thing is, yes, 100%. And I wish I had developed some of these true crime skills that you guys have from covering a multitude of cases. And I stick to one, and I don't have these skills, but I know other people do. And I know people are so good with Google Earth and Google Maps. And I can imagine we can do more. And I think we can do more with FOIA requests. I don't want to interrupt. Why don't you present what you were going to present, and then I'll give you a couple thoughts on what I just heard on the from the sisters.
Okay. Well, this is 2019. This is the same residence. As you can tell, it still looks a little run down, but like the sister said, Gary is not a wonderful place. You know what I mean? And that seems to be the general consensus of a lot of towns, these days, because the economy is just terrible for a lot of places. But that's neither here nor there. I mean, she should be home with her family and her newborn baby.
But we see no beige camper, at least 2019.
No.
And that was kind of the point we were bringing up to the chat right now. There's this camper that sounds like it's mobile. It sounds like it's not necessarily affiliated with the boyfriend because he's incarcerated and they're looking for it. And they said it's known to the area and it's mobile.
I mean, that's another thing that some subscribers, if they have time or, if they want to be involved, they can get on Google Maps and, just take a stroll around the city and see if you see anything that could remotely be what they're looking for. You know what I mean? I mean, we don't necessarily have to be in Gary, Indiana in order for it to be making a difference, and doesn't mean that any tip is the wrong tip. You just don't know what your tip could lead to,
Yeah.
The good thing about Google Maps is it lets you zoom in so that you can see little areas like in these backyards, even if you can't see back there, you can kind of get a little glimpse of what's back there in those trees,
There's things to be discovered, 100%. Like we could do better as a true crime community. And then when you hear a family pleading like that, it's kind of hard, what can we do? I don't know what I can do, but I'll have to think about it. At least keeping attention to this case, is one thing.
I mean, if anything else, just to run the flyer every live you have or something, you know what I mean? Because you have a lot of subs. You have more subs than I do. And you just never know who could be connected to. You know what I mean? If anything, just run the flyer.
Yeah, I will do. I'm glad we're reviewing this case because I honestly did not realize that the families were crying out for help so badly. It's so terrible.
Yeah, I mean, they were saying that they had to do this alone, that they're having to go into these abandoned houses all by themselves and put their lives at risk. I mean, that's a hell of a position to be in. And that's one thing when you're looking for something like a crime scene, a lot of people don't want you to be snooping around.
Yeah.
Even if they're not involved, they don't want you around their home. They don't want to be filmed. They don't want to go on record, and your lives are put in danger sometimes.
12, it makes me think though, hold on, am I muted? It makes me think though, is it that or is it more than that? Because we heard this sister, and it's this one sister that keeps saying these things. She said, so first off, the mother says she believes that something happened to her baby. But the other sister, she blurts out, we don't want more people to get hurt. Then she says, we don't want more people to get lost. Then she says, this place is scary. Now, here's the thing. Like, yes, she could just be making this complete literal thing. I don't want people to get hurt. I don't want people to get lost. Well, this place is scary speaks for itself. But doesn't it sound like there's so much more? And it sounds like there's involvement of so much more. I don't want more to get hurt. I don't want more to get lost. Hurt, we
don't know, the way I took that is we don't know how many people go missing in this town on a daily. I mean, I've seen thumbnails where it says Gary, Indiana is not one of the worst places in the US. And I mean, I've never clicked on it, but when I'm bored, I go through like some people that have gone through road trips and stuff, and they document all these areas. We don't know how many people go missing from this city on a daily. How many women have gone missing, such as this? You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. This is petrifying. Yeah, I don't know what it all means. It's hard to know if she's trying to say more and she can't, or if it's just a sister grieving and saying these things. I don't know what I'm looking at.
Well, I would believe, and this is just my own thought process, I would believe that she's probably trying to put a spotlight on a problem that's been there for a long time.
Yeah.
And she finally got not only her sister to look for, but there might be other cases that are just ignored. Because I hear, if you're a prostitute, if you're a drug addict or whatever, the police view you in a certain way, then they're not really going to search for you.
Sad but true.
A lot of times it takes something like this in order for them to be like, okay, we got the spotlight on us. We got to get out there and do something.
Yeah, I mean, at the very least,
we could go all day around these Google streets. I mean, if you do that, like if you ever have time and you're like kind of bored or whatever, you can see some interesting things. I mean, there's some other creators on some other cases that have stumbled on some past pictures that nobody's really seen that could put light on other crimes. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I think that well, I don't know. I can't say that I don't know the true crimes community is not covering it. I'm in this very specific Idaho 4 niche. So when I go on, other than like my YouTube people that I listen to that aren't true crime, all I hear about is Idaho 4. And so I don't know if there are other creators covering this, but I'm going to look into it now, see who
I just looked up, when I was looking up her name, the only true crime that I saw was JLR. He was the one that was, him and Nancy Grace were the only two that I saw that actually had anything about her disappearance. I mean, JLR was right on it. And for whether you like him or whether you don't, I mean, he is active in a lot of different ways. So, that's to be respected in itself.
Yeah. Agreed.
I think, as important as the Idaho 4 case, and I've stated it publicly, and I'm going to say it again right now, tonight's going to be the last one that I do until the trial. I'm done with it. And I know I've said that before, but I really am. I'm done with it. I'm going to focus on other things, other avenues, because there's a lot of people like this family right here that need time that case is taking up. And we really are no closer to any closure than we were 2 years ago, in my opinion.
I certainly respect everything you have to say and certainly don't mean to speak on it with any contradiction, but I will say one thing, 12, is subscribers to you like myself, we do enjoy hearing your commentary on the Idaho 4. And, I understand like nothing going on to the case. I've thought about that too, but then every month, every few weeks, we get these document drops, and it's such interesting conversation. Like, I don't know if you read the documents that came out last night, but I had done a whole video on it this morning, like a 15-minute live, just giving updates on 3 of the documents, just things that stood out. I mean, there are things going on. And so anyway, what my point was is that we like hearing what you have to say. And for us viewers who enjoy the Idaho 4, your voice would be missed if you just take it out. And I would say maybe consider for us, you know, it's, I understand you probably want to branch out in your channel too, but we do enjoy hearing your commentary. And I don't be a shame if you don't want to talk about it until trial.
Yeah, I mean, that's how I'm feeling today. Like I said, you know, things change. I'm very spontaneous, but you know, as of today, tonight's live, when you know you, myself, and Nina and Crime Police, and you know, get up there and we're talking. I mean, I'm really looking forward to that, because I'm looking forward to hearing some different perspectives on a lot of different things, you know, and I hope that you guys, you know, are excited about it too, because you know, it's always great to hear different perspectives rather than just get one dimensional.
What is the topic?
Nina wanted to talk about the 8-hour delay and all the stuff that incorporated that situation.
Okay.
So I thought that we would talk a little bit about that and then just let it go how it goes. Not really script it. Just, I mean, all 4 of us are creators, so we all know the case pretty well, you know. So I think we could just, you know, wing it and kind of let it go where it goes. Just, you know, see where it ends up. I mean, some of the best lives are just, you know, ones that are pretty unscripted.
Definitely. Yeah, it sounds good. I know I haven't gotten back to you since then, and I'm going to the Outer Cape, but should be back by 9, and it's 9 o'clock my time, right? Or is it 9 o'clock your time?
It's 9 o'clock Central, so I don't know. I guess it would be 7 your time.
Oh, it's 7 my time? Oh, I didn't realize that.
Are you 2 hour? Are you on Eastern time? I think it's 2 hours.
I thought I was 2 hours ahead.
No, it's 2 hours behind, so it would be 7 o'clock. I mean, just hop on whenever you can. It's not a big deal. I'm gonna start it at 9 o'clock, so if you hop on, you know, an hour into it or whatever, because I'm pretty sure we're gonna be talking fairly a while. You know, I don't see it being like a 30-minute live, kind of like this one.
Endless conversation.
I'm here for 2 hours, and we've gotten a lot of information out there, I believe.
I mean, I would have to dig to find more information now. I think what the families had to say was the most in-depth press conference we had, because they're not communicating with the police. They're kind of not getting any info. So they're not holding anything back at this point. They're saying everything.
I'd like to do a follow-up with you on this. I mean, if we end up with more information, I'd like to do a follow-up, since, you know, we've been talking about it together. I mean, we could get on a live and do a follow-up if we learn any more information, maybe on the boyfriend or maybe on the person who's missing, and, you know, their lifestyle and stuff like that. I would definitely like to revisit it later on if you're game.
Oh, I'm definitely game. Yeah, just let me know. That sounds I'd love to get an update on this as well. And now that we have people who have sat through, you know, 2.5 hours talking about this case, I know there's a lot of people who are interested as well. So we'll try to get you guys a good update in the near future. So
all right. So I guess I'm gonna get off here because I gotta go do some stuff. Thank you so much for hopping up here and, you know, assisting me with this. This helped a lot. Thank you.
It was a pleasure spending the afternoon with you. It was so nice reading the comments in the chat. You guys had such insightful thoughts on this tragic case. So thank you. The chat was amazing. Thank you, live chat, so much. And
And
they
I do want to say one more thing. I don't know, Swamp, if your email is on your page or whatever, but or Discord or whatever. But if you guys get any information as far as updates or anything like that, um, feel free to comment. You know where we can find these documents or whatever. That way we can do some research as well and give you credit for the information that you find because you're part of the case as well. We're not the whole engine. There are a lot of different pieces and you're the biggest part. So if y'all happen to find anything useful that we could possibly speak on, get in touch with one of us or find a way to get in touch with us and we will definitely speak on what you find.
Oh, so well said. We are nothing to what the viewer and us. We are a community and we are nothing without each other. And then our shows, we are nothing without the viewer. But the viewer and us, we are a community and absolutely. I mean, even in the Idaho 4 case, I mean, really, I could sit and talk about it, but I don't want to just hear my echo chamber in my head. I want to know what are the opinions. Anyway,
Right.
Well said.
Well, I will see you tonight, Swamp, and you have an awesome rest of your day. Thank you so much for being up here.
Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure. Bye, everybody. Take care.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you so much for listening to our presentation. Once again, if you stumble upon any kind of information that is of value to this case or any other case that we were discussing, feel free to find a way to get it to us, and we will definitely give you credit. And if you do research that deems where more about it, you could even pop up on panel and be a part of the presentation. So thank you so much. Y'all have an awesome day, and try to remember, if you're in the area tonight, we will be talking Idaho 4, 9 Central. So do the calculation, whatever area you're in. And hope to see everybody here with an open heart and open mind and just in the mood for an awesome chat and an awesome presentation. Looking forward to seeing you then. All right, I'm going to cue the music and then we're out of here. Thank you so much.